Hey guys, what's up? I'm John Merritt from borntoproduce.com, and we've had a question from one of our students basically asking how to detect the tempo of a vocal track, obviously when you don't know the initial tempo of it. So there's a couple of ways of doing this. The first and easiest way is to basically go and research. If you're using an a cappella, then you can go and find the original tune that the a cappella belongs to and either research the tempo of it on Google, or you can buy it, download it, stick it into your DAW of choice and do like tempo detection on it, or even follow the steps that I'm going to show you and do it that way. It will be much easier if you've got a beat behind the actual vocal. So if you haven't got a beat behind the vocal, you can't find the original of the track, or if someone's given you a vocal and they just haven't given you a tempo and you need to figure it out, then there is only really one way that I know of actually doing it, and it's a bit of a pain, or it's not an exact science at least, but it does work, and I've used this many times to find out the tempo of a particular vocal. So let's actually go through that process and find out how it works. So I've got a vocal and a beat here. So my beat, this is just a normal little break beat, just going to play at 143 BPM is what I want this final track to be at, and I've got this vocal which just doesn't tempo sync to the beat.
Something about the way you pull me in, it's in your eyes.
It's actually just a bit faster, okay? So I need to find out what the tempo of the vocal is so I can then actually time stretch it so it actually then fits in with the beat. So the first step really is to find a section of the vocal where I can easily tap along to, so I can easily sort of hear where the beat should go. That's what I need. Normally the chorus section of a track is probably a pretty good place to start, so let's just have a listen to that.
So damn kinetic. You're so magnetic.
2, 3,
I feel your
4.
pull. It feels poetic and metaphor. You're so magnetic.
Okay, so we're going to use this section here, which is the start of the chorus. So just a quick tip for people that are in Cubase, and maybe you've got a similar sort of thing in your DAW of choice, but we've got in Cubase, we've got this thing called, if you go to Projects and then go to Beat Calculator, so we can actually use this and hit the tap tempo button. We get this little bar here, so we can sort of click this space or hit the space bar or whatever to the actual rhythm of the beat. So just tapping in where we think the main sort of beat should fall, and it will give us basically the average BPM. So if you do this for long enough, you'll get quite an accurate sort of reading of what the actual tempo of your track is. So let's just do that quickly. So let's just refresh that to, or I'll just reopen it, and then go browser, beat calculator, and then we're just going to hit play, and then tap tempo, and then we'll start doing it.
You're so damn kinetic. You're so magnetic. I feel your pull. It feels poetic and metaphor. You're so magnetic. I feel your pull. Is it pathetic and metaphor? Take me now, try me out. Boy, I know what you are all about. Push me here, you pull me there. You do it all with just your step. You're so magnetic.
Okay, so let's call that
You're
it.
so magnetic.
So it's given us a tempo
You're so
of 75 BPM, which basically, because this track was recorded at halftime, so it's actually 150 BPM, which is actually correct. So it's actually a pretty decent way of finding out the tempo. Obviously, it might not be precisely on the BPM counter. You might be slightly off or whatever, but if you did this for, say, a whole minute or whatever, then you'll get a really accurate reading of what the actual tempo of the track is. It's just a neat little way of finding out the tempo of something. Okay, but for many people who won't have a beat calculator or something in their DAW, now I'm just going to carry on and tell you how to actually do it in without the beat calculator. Here we go. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit, so it's a bit easier to see where I'm going to slice this. Turn my snap off because I'm going to want to sort of snap at any random sort of point, and let's just count that in. So that right there is the very start of this sort of chorus section of the vocal. Okay, so I don't need that bit anymore, so let's get rid of that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to count sort of 4 bars or 8 bars or even 16 bars if you can. The longer you count this out, the more accurate your sort of tempo detection is going to be. Okay, so let's just count out as far as we can. So let's go for this. So
you're so magnetic.
3,
I feel your pull.
4,
It feels poetic.
2, 3,
A metaphor.
4.
You're so magnetic. I feel your pull. Is it pathetic? A metaphor. Take me now. Try me out. Boy, I know what you are all about. Push me here. You pull me there. You do it all.
3, 4, 1.
You're so magnetic.
Okay, so just before the vocal switches over to that sort of
You're so magnetic.
so basically the end of the 8-bar loop is what I counted. Finishes just about there, I think.
You do it all with just your stare.
Yeah, let's go for there. That's fine. Like I say, this isn't 100% exact science. You will get an exact result by the end of it, but the sort of intermediate process of finding the tempo isn't exact. So we're just basically forming what we've got is an 8-bar loop here. So I'm going to turn my snap back on and just bring that to the start of my loop region. Now I know this is basically 8 bars of vocal, okay, so I want to set my loop region to 8 bars as well. So let's do that. That's too long. So that's 8 bars, and we can see there obviously that if this is 8 bars and my track is set to 143 BPM, that there's a bit of a gap there, so obviously the vocal is not syncing to the tempo of my track. So what I'm going to do is, obviously I'll just remember 143, that's the tempo that I want it to be, and all I'm going to do with my loop region set at 8 bars is just tweak this time. So let's try 146. Okay, and we can see that the sort of gap there has got a bit smaller, so it's almost matching the 8 bars of the vocal. So let's raise it up a bit. Let's try 148. Okay, so that's not quite there either. We've still got a bit of a gap. Let's try 150. Okay, that looks pretty good actually. It's very, very close. Like I say, this is never going to be exact because we don't have 100% accurate starting point or end point for the vocal. And that's why using a longer bit, so using at least 8 bars of vocal to sort of do this tempo detection, if you like, is definitely better than using less. If you just try to do it on like 1 bar of vocal, it's going to be very hard to gauge it. So, okay, that's fine. And let's just play that over the beat just to really sort of double check it.
You're so magnetic. I feel your pull. It feels poetic.
And just make sure that it doesn't sort of start sliding out of time.
You're so magnetic. I feel your pull. Is it pathetic? A metaphor. Take me now, try me out. Boy, I know what you are all about. Push me here, you pull me there. You do it all with just your stare.
Okay, so that actually sounds pretty damn good. So I'm pretty much 100% sure that this vocal was originally recorded at 150 BPM. Now, the good thing, obviously, about sort of modern day music, or at least for sort of the last 30 years, especially in electronic music, is that everything fits to a pretty exact tempo. It's always going to be like 150 BPM or 145 BPM or 120 BPM. It's not going to be 125.5 BPM or 147.3 BPM. No one produces that. It's always an exact sort of number, okay? So you can always be pretty sure that you're not going to have to start adding 0.02 or whatever to this beat. It's always going to be exact, which helps us a little bit. Okay, so now I've got that, what I'm going to do is just delete that. We know the vocal is at 150 and we want, I'll just change that now, to be 146. Let's go 146. Okay, so what I'm going to do is literally right click my vocal. Obviously this is in Cubase. In your DAW you'll just have to find out where you get to change the tempo of a bit of audio, and I go to processes, and I'm sorry you can't see this, is just off the screen, but down here I've got the item time stretch, so that's what I'm going to click on, and it looks kind of slightly confusing. There's only really 3 bits of this which are actually important at all. The first is this box, original length, and we're just going to change this tempo. We know that's 150. So we're going to change that to 150, hit enter, and then our BPM of what we want it to be is 146. So let's change it to 146. I know originally I said 143, but that's fine. This is just an example. I'm going to time stretch this to 146 in this case. And that's really only the two main boxes that you need, but we're also going to just check this. Elastic Pro Time is the algorithm that we're using to time stretch the vocal. It kind of depends on the actual vocal, on the actual sample that you're time stretching. If you're using drums, you might want to use a different time stretching algorithm, but it's really Elastic Pro Time is absolutely fine. It's probably the best one. Okay, so now I've got my tempo set. My original tempo of the vocal, 150. What I want it to be, 146. That's it. Hit apply. And just wait for it to do its thing. Okay, so you can see there the vocal just shifted, and hopefully the vocal is now going to be actually in tempo, in sync with the beat.
Something about the way you pull me in. It's in your eyes, it's in your skin. Nowhere to go, baby, I'm stuck on you. I know it's true. Do you feel it too?
Sounding pretty good so far.
You are so magnetic.
Okay, so I can tell already that's definitely right bang smack at the correct tempo. Okay, so like I say, it's not an exact science, or at least, you know, you do get an exact result at the end, but finding out everything in between is, you know, takes a bit of trial and error. And you may get it wrong. You may just have it a 1 BPM out or 2 BPM out, and you might just have to sort of go back and undo the time stretch and then, you know, re-time stretch it, giving it a slightly different tempo or whatever to find the exact one. It's a pain that it's like that, but that's the best way that I've found. I've used that many times to get the tempo of a vocal, and it's never ever failed. You know, sometimes it might take slightly longer, sometimes less, but it works. And unfortunately, there's no real better way to do it for a vocal. If you're trying to find the tempo of drums or something with a really defined rhythm, that's much easier because you can actually use the tempo detect function in Cubase, or at least you can just chop out an exact 4-bar loop or 8-bar loop of it and then easily find the tempo the same way. I will leave you with one thought, and that is just to check out our remix course on borntoproduce.com. Jay spent ages on that course, and it's really, really good. It covers loads of stuff about how to find acapellas, how to find vocals for, you know, use to do remixes from, how to extract acapellas from existing tracks. It covers everything, even like how to make a remix from start to finish, all the vital sort of remixing skills. It's an absolutely fantastic course, so I really recommend that if you are looking to do a remix, you definitely go and check it out. Okay, so that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.